The Chicago Bulls are flat out bad. There are no two ways about it. Their signing of Jabari Parker has proven to be a failure. They don't play defense, they fired their coach not even halfway through the season, and have struggled to find an identity on the offensive end of the court. But amongst the rubble that is the Chicago Bulls season, there are a few diamonds in the rough. Players and signs of talent that could be built upon to restore the once great franchise to glory. One of these great hopes is none other than Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen had an injured elbow to start the season and was forced to sit out. He was the Bulls' best player last year in his rookie season, and the Bulls definitely lacked his presence to start this year. But since his return, he has come roaring out of the gate, averaging nearly 20 points a game and pulling down 7 rebounds as well. The 7-footer has reminded Chicago and the rest of the league that they have an absolute problem waiting to develop. Markkanen is a true 7-footer, an absolute giant on the court who most would pin as a center if they had never seen him play. But Lauri is one of the last few 7-footers in the league who is skilled enough to get out on the perimeter and play the power forward. For most teams, they can't afford to have two guys out there who are that big. Realistically, you need to have someone who is capable of guarding smaller fours and also of playing on the perimeter and shooting threes on the offensive side of the court. Markkanen is a rare breed in that he can do both. In his rookie season, he showed the ability to guard the perimeter to a satisfactory level. It definitely isn't his strong suit, but he was capable and had some nice moments locking down players on that side of the court. And then, on the offensive end, he would absolutely torch them. Lauri is unbelievably lethal from 3-point range and has shot around 37% from deep in his 2 seasons in the league. This is a result of some spotty shooting from him in his rookie years. Some games he would be absolutely lights out and couldn't miss, and others he would shoot 1 of 7 or not even make a 3. And then this season he struggled over his first 5 games, but since has shot around 47% from deep since then. Markkanen takes some of these threes from deep range and doesn't hesitate when there is a defender closing out on him. I fully expect him to get up to the 40% range once he settles into his season, the NBA in general, and the prime of his basketball career. He has such a beautiful stroke with a fast release, which is in the perfect position for a shooter. He almost looks like a 7-foot version of Klay Thompson, which gives him the potential to be one of the best floor spacers in the league. And the reason the Bulls will be able to get away with playing 2 bigs is the existence of Wendell Carter Jr., their incredible rookie. Carter Jr. is slightly shorter than Markkanen, but plays a more natural big man game, which is predominantly based on getting inside and finishing with all kinds of hooks and floater shots. But Wendell can also shoot the mid-range, shoot threes, and slam the ball inside with ferocity. In this way, he reminds me of Al Horford, a guy with all the shots that plugs away inside, setting smart screens and passing the ball as well. He's the kind of player that will fill whatever role his team needs of him. Next to Bagley at Duke, Wendell Carter did all the dirty work on the defensive end, made high-low passes, and then spaced the floor with threes and jumpers, as well as contributing on the offensive glass as well. With Markkanen, he will need to play more inside, setting pin-down screens, off-ball screens, and getting ready to hassle teams on the offensive glass again. But the beauty of it is that when Markkanen goes down low, Wendell Carter Jr. can step out to the 3-point line to make shots there, or mid-range jumpers as he is preferred this year, because Carter has only made 20% of his threes on a very limited sample size. While this might look shocking, just imagine big men coming into the league just 10 years ago. It was so rare for any of them to even attempt threes, let alone practice them. Wendell is definitely working on this aspect of his game, and in the coming seasons I can see him stepping out there with regularity, which will allow the Bulls to have 5 shooters on the court and for Lauri to operate inside as well as outside. Because Markkanen is almost as good inside as he is on the outside. Lauri has been posting up a little bit to start this season and is finding success due to the muscle he added in the off-season and the extreme skill he has with ball in hand. If he wants to make a quick move, he can turn over both shoulders for fadeaway jumpers or hooks, or he can back down his opposition and get closer to the rim for an easy hook or bank shot. Plus, he has great footwork and can execute an up and under pump fake to send his defender flying. The combination of being able to chain together multiple moves and also having a soft and accurate touch makes for a deadly combination inside. And he can use these moves off of the pick and roll as well. Markkanen has shown the ability to set strong screens and dive to the rim. Like most big men, he is fantastic at catching the ball for lobs, bounce passes and regular passes, and then rising up for a dunk or a layup. and he's actually very athletic and uses this to catch defenders off guard before he's jamming on them. But where he differs from most big men is his ability to make a move after catching the ball. Lauri can fake, dribble the ball, and go into a quasi-post move off of the catch. He can also hit a teammate with a pass if the defense has sent extra help, and this is part of his game I expect to prove as the years go by. And he balances this roll game with his incredible pick and fade game, which is a huge part of his three-point diet. Markkanen will fake a roll a lot of the time before dipping back out to the three-point line. This fake roll that Markkanen and a few other big men use is fantastic, as opposing big men will sometimes check to see where their opponent is moving initially before adjusting that coverage. As a result, you can sometimes trick them into playing you for the roll while they hedge the guard and then slip out for a wide open three-pointer. As a result of this and his general ball movement, 97% of Markkanen's threes were assisted last year. This is fantastic, as it usually means the player is capable of getting open and their teammates see this and hit them with the ball. It also means that he isn't simply sitting behind the three-point line and taking bad three-point shots. He takes a lot of solid looks, especially off the pick and fade. But the other thing he does off of these plays is drive and attack the paint off of the dribble. Lauri has a surprisingly good handle for a player of his size, and if the defending player closes out too hard and fast, he will simply pump fake and put the ball on the deck. When most big men do this, they tend to get called for charges, travels, or just put up horrible shots. But occasionally one will come along with the skills required. Think Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Dirk Nowitzki when he was younger. These style of players have all had driving from the perimeter as part of their game, and so does Markkanen. It is part of what makes him a complete offensive player. He has the ability to score the ball from any spot on the court. This is perhaps the rarest type of offensive player, and it makes it exceptionally tough to game plan for him. When a player is one or even two-dimensional, you can overplay these aspects to limit their effectiveness. If a guy is a lethal three-point shooter, you stick to him like glue. And if you can only drive, then you get ready to bring the help and back off. But when a player can score from the post, the three-point line, the drive, the pick and roll, the pull-up, and off the cut, it becomes incredibly hard to stop them. For this reason, I expect the Bulls to build their long-term offense around Markkanen. Wendell Carter is the perfect second or third option on offense, but I don't know if he'll ever develop into the sort of player who can lead the offense of a great team. Markkanen will. When I first watched him play in the Eurobasket in 2017 before the NBA season, I was blown away. He was a 20-year-old leading his country to the round of 16 and absolutely dominating. So many times Finland would need a basket and they would just throw him the ball and he would go to work. This combined with his ability to score all over the court makes him a threat. One that I can see draining bucket after bucket to eliminate teams in the playoffs in the future. Many fans will cry out and point to Zach LaVine, who is currently averaging 24 points a game for the Bulls this season. And I agree, LaVine has blown most people away this season. I predicted he would be very good, and he has delivered, draining threes and using his speed to blow by defenders and get inside the paint. But he is still slightly inefficient, and I don't think teams will be winning championships if he is their first or even second best offensive player. Where LaVine is important is as the driving force on pick and roll plays for Wendell Carter and Markkanen. LaVine is absolutely lethal when coming off a screen. He can pull up for threes, mid-range jumpers, or drive to the basket with his insane burst of speed. What this does is demand a ton of defensive attention. Teams have to hedge or trap, or have that big man drop back to guard the rim. What this does is create opportunities for the two young bigs to either slip to the basket or fade out for three. Guarding a great big man and a great guard in the pick and roll is virtually impossible. Go out on a basketball court and play some 2-on-2. If you run pick and roll every play, you will see how easy it is to get certain looks. And you can bet that while I will brick my pull-up twos, Zach LaVine won't. This is why teams have to send help from other players to stop pick and rolls in the modern NBA. LaVine, Markkanen, and Carter Jr. will draw a lot of help from these plays over the next 3 seasons. If they can surround themselves with good role players and a great point guard, they could be one of the more threatening young teams. And they are on their way to losing a lot of games and getting a very high draft pick. Because even with these 3 talented young players, their defense absolutely sucks. The Bulls are one of the worst defensive teams in the league and really can't get any stops on this side of the court, and they're losing games as a result. LaVine will need to work on this, and if Chris Dunn gets healthy and more consistent offensively, he will offer help in this area in the future. But the reality is a lot of it comes down to effort and culture. When you watch Bulls games, it doesn't really look like they care about defense. Recently, this has gotten a little bit better, as if the return of Markkanen has spurred the belief that they could in fact win games and should therefore try. But the reality is it needs to be the other way around. They need to try in order to win. And as we have seen with some teams transitioning from losing to trying to win, this can be tough. Old habits die hard, and so I hope that the Bulls can start playing with a little bit more defensive intensity, so that they can have a chance on capitalizing on their talent in the future, because they will have a lot. With LaVine, Markkanen, WCJ and Dunn already, and then another top pick coming in this draft. The Bulls are a chance at a top 3 pick, and will likely be looking at RJ Barrett or Cam Reddish. I'm sure Zion will be tempting, but with 2 young bigs, they desperately need a strong wing, and you can't get much better than Reddish or Barrett. The thoughts of all that driving and shooting next to one of the most lethal young floor spacers, the future of the Bulls is brighter than many realize, and the marksman is the biggest reason for that. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more NBA videos, and let me know in the comments what you think of Markkanen and the Chicago Bulls' future.